step one, let's get the pizza dough made. So I'm going to start out in my KitchenAid mixer bowl. Now you can mix this dough by hand too, but you might want to have a little muscle do it for you. Probably going to knead it for about 6 to 8 minutes by hand. But we're going to use the KitchenAid, but if you don't, it's possible to do it by hand. I have before. Alright, let's start with 2 cups of faucet hot water. And we're going to go ahead and get a new cup to do the flour so we won't have it sticking to the wet cup. For my recipe, I'm going to use probably about a scant tablespoon of sugar. I use a fast rise yeast. Probably about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons, sorry, a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of the yeast. Get that mixed in and get that yeast activating. On top of that, we're going to put our 4 cups of flour, more or less. As you see, I'm probably not scraping it off, measuring it like a baker would. A lot of things to consider when making dough for pizza or bread, anything like that, is what the humidity is like outside. I'm going to do a scant tablespoon on this salt. What altitude you're at, just things of that nature can affect the actual dough. So a lot of times I go by the feel of my dough. But for basic simple getting started, I got 2 cups of hot water. Not as hot as the faucet can get it, but just hot to get that yeast activated. Alright, we got a scant tablespoon of sugar, 1 to 2 teaspoons of rapid rise yeast. I put the flour on top of that, and then I put, which is 4 cups, and then I put the salt on top of that, which is a scant tablespoon. And now we're going to go to the mixer. And the reason why I did that is because this is going to mix up better in the mixer with the liquid on the bottom. So to be able to pull up and away from the sides and not leave that dry, gritty part in the bottom. If you've ever mixed any kind of batter or dough up, you know what I'm talking about. If you put all the liquids on top and try to mix it, a lot of times it leaves a dry pattern of packed in flour or sugar or whatever in the bottom of the bowl. I actually get started with my KitchenAid mixer. It will be making a lot of noise. It's probably over 15 years old. My wife had it when she graduated from nursing school. Alright, set it down, lock it in. And I'm probably going to let that run about 6 minutes with the dough hook. Alright, while it's mixing, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in it. Probably just do it like a 3 count in my head. It's probably just a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, but you can use regular oil, vegetable oil. Yeah, just whatever you want to use, because the extra virgin olive oil is probably overkill for the taste, but just whatever you have on hand. So in the bowl, we're about to where I want it to be. It's been mixing long enough. Titus, you want to come and get a close-up? I'll turn it off. You see the dough, still real soft, but it's pulling all the stuff up off the side of the bowl. I'm going to go ahead and remove it, because I have a different technique for doing pizza that doesn't involve a lot of flour and making a mess and using a rolling pin that I'll show you. My technique with the dough, now that we're ready to take it out of the bowl, is, well, first I get my ring off. I'll spray a little non-stick spray on my hands. Doesn't matter, canola, butter flavor, olive oil flavor, whatever one you have. And you can actually just use oil on your hands. As you see, mine's still kind of sticky, but we're gonna let it, we'll get it out. Take a shot in this bowl here real quick, Titus. And as you see, I don't have any dry particles that stuck to the bottom of the bowl, so that's good. So this is really nice and smooth like I want it. So there's a couple of ways to do this. You can use a scale like this. Let me start it up. Let me see how much the dough weighs. Okay.
So would you like knead it a certain different way, or do you just like, you know, push it all in?
Yeah, I'm just shaping it up because we're going to go ahead. Since this is pizza, we're not going to worry about too much of a rise. We will get some rise. We'll let it sit for a few minutes while we get all our toppings ready. But for the scale, it said 40 ounces, so basically I can make the doughs 10 ounces a piece. We usually do about an 8-ounce dough for the technique that I use. But if you don't want to use a scale or you don't have a scale, a lot of times I just let it sit there and we'll get us out a bench scraper or a piece of dough cutter or a knife if that's all you have. And basically, I'll just separate it into 4. And I'll leave that pizza cutter out because I'm going to use it again. So I shape it up into my little dough balls. All right, we're going to put that on a tray. Actually, it's kind of wet. Let me dry it out real quick. Just put a little spray down so it doesn't stick.
How far would you want the dough?
It'll start swelling and coming close to touching each other. So do a little diagonal set, give it space to spread out. And I'll put it on top of the oven because I have the oven preheating as high as it'll go. My oven will go 525 or 550 Fahrenheit. But I have a baking stone or I have a baking steel. I'll probably be using the baking steel tonight in the bottom part of my oven. And you don't really need to take your baking steel or your baking stone out of your oven. You can leave it in there all the time. We cook cookies on top of it, casseroles on top of it, roast food on top of it. A lot of people don't like to hassle with it because they want to pull it back out of their oven and then stick it back in and pull it out and stick it back in. You don't need to do that. Just leave it in there all the time on one of the racks. All right, let's let this sit here for a little while and we'll get all our toppings ready. All right, if you have this kind of parchment paper, there's little squares. And I like to bring it out to about 6 squares wide. Rip it off, and as you see, I got some already stacked up here. And this is about the width of my pizza peel. And it's going to fit on my stone or my pizza steel that I have inside my oven. So let me go ahead and show you. Technique. Here we're going to get one of the dough balls. I'm going to do a little non-stick spray. You can use olive oil if you don't like using non-stick spray in your house. Alright, I'm going to shape it out a little bit with my hand just to get it started. It's going to come out like a rectangle. If you want to do square, you can do square. Titus is going to show us how he does his hand-formed pizza later. So he doesn't necessarily do it like this. He likes to make his own style, his own shape. Place the other one right on top of it, and I hold this. I don't roll it, I hold it. And if you hold the ends, you can smash out the dough, stretch it out. Hold the ends, make sure it doesn't come out. And get the sides. In our house, we like thin crust most of the time, but sometimes Titus and I like to make just what you would call a hand tossed or a hand stretched. Sometimes we use some of our 9-inch cake pans, spray a little spray in it, and we'll do a deep dish pizza, which works out well. Now this is not made to be perfect, okay? You get it close, you feel like the dough is big enough, long enough, thin enough for you, you like it, That's it. You peel the top off. Make sure you use that non-stick sprayer or you will have a hard time peeling the top off. See how thin that is? That might even come out kind of cracker-like. All right, let's do one more since we're getting them ready to cook anyway. All right, let's do one more. So what I forgot is if we spray one side of the paper, a lot of times we can just smush the other one on top of it. Get a good coating on it. Lay a piece of dough down. Put this back on top. Basically, it's like you squeegee in the car window. Or putting some tin on your window. Maybe you've never did that either, but you get the process. Just a quick, easy way, no fuss, not a lot of flour. Kids can learn how to do it. Or they can hand make their own. That's it. That's how we do it without the flour and get them out the way we want them. We have a nice pepperoni and Italian sausage pizza about to go in. You notice on mine it's raw. Sometimes we pre-cook it, sometimes we don't. This is going to be hot enough. It's going to cook it up on the pizza. And a little bit of that pork fat with the Italian seasoning will help flavor the pizza itself. All right, we're going to go in right down here. I got a pizza steel in this oven. You want to look down here? Ooh, we're smoking. We probably left a little pieces of cheese or something in from last time. I just put it in there, slide it right on. This pizza is probably going to take, that pizza still gets really hot, so this pizza is probably only going to take about 5 minutes.
Okay, now we're going to do my dough. Okay, so we smush it first, and then we get it spread out some. Most of the time, mine is an oval.
And if your hands are getting sticky, you can always put a little spray on them again if you want to, Titus.
Yeah, we already sprayed it once.
But you're looking like you got it like you usually like it.
Yes.
All right, what toppings you going to put on yours, Titus?
So, so first we're going to do is the pizza sauce. Get a good amount. Sometimes I like to pull this in quickly so the tomato sauce doesn't like come out right over.
It's looking good, Titus. Now we can hear you a little bit better. We turn that fan off.
That should work.
That pizza will put out some steam when you start cranking them pizzas out.
Okay, how do you think it looks? I think it looks good.
That's good. You ready for your toppings?
Yep. So, first we're going to go with some mozzarella.
All right.
Then some Mexican style mix cheese we have to put in there.
And you like that because it's just got a bunch of different flavored cheeses in it that
Yes.
melt real good and tastes pretty good, huh?
Okay, so now we're gonna go with some pepperoni.
You can use both hands. It's looking good.
And then right here we got this huge piece.
Why don't we leave that out and maybe we'll dice it up and put it on one of the other pizzas.
Okay, so we're gonna do some more pepperoni. Okay, so then we're gonna just put on some olives.
You love them green olives.
Some sausage. some Italian style, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pull it in chunks and just place it around the pizza where you want it.
Getting that all in.
All right, you got everything on it you want, Titus?
Yeah. Wait. So I'm gonna do a different kind of mozzarella. It's like a big thick kind, right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pesto marinated mozzarella that we had left over from another cooking thing we did, but that'll taste good when that melts down on your pizza.
Mhm.
It's gonna looking tasty, Titus.
Yep. Okay, now we're ready for the oven.
Good job. First one's ready. We're gonna get that joker out of here. Woo, it's looking good too. So, what I do real quick, pull that out. That's done. Slide it out. Let's look at the bottom of it. You want to get a close up, Titus? Look at the bottom of that. We could let it go a little bit further, but I think it's ready. So what I do is I cut it real quick. I just do 9s. You can do it smaller if you got smaller kids, but my kids will eat some pizza. Now we're gonna go over here to these racks I got. Slide it off on the rack. It helps keep the crust crispy on the bottom, and we can stack them.
Oh yeah, it's looking good.
All right, let's come over here to the counter, Titus. We're gonna go with Titus's pan style pizza. All the goodies on it. Get that going. In it goes. It's good for now. Let's take a look at Titus's pizza. What's in there? Oh yeah, look at them bubbles. That's really looking good, Titus. We'll pull it out here in just a minute. We're going to pull Titus's pizza out of the oven, take a little look at it. Sometimes I can't tell how well done it is or how browned up or crisp it is. So let's get it out and check it out. Come on up here, Titus. Let's check it out. You know what? We're going to give it a little bit longer to brown, but you know what we can do? We can go ahead and pull the parchment paper like we usually do. Put it right back on the And your pizza's looking good, Titus. That's right, run it through there. You got it.
Yeah, I think I got it through.
That crust is looking good. And you got it kind of thick like you like it. Looks like you got it all cut, Titus. You want to get it on the rack?
So we're going to slide it on.
Good job, man.
Okay.
That's a wrap, folks. Pizza from start to finish.